was that women's 100 meter. Sha'Carri Richardson, 10:72 win legal. Second place was 11:07. It's like it wasn't even close. There was no one even in her range that was there. 10:72. She ran 10:75 right at NCAAs in 2019. So
Yeah.
2 years later, lowering it by 0.03. Very quick, number 6 all time in the world. Uh, that's something. And she's young. What? Is she 20? She's not even 22 yet. She's probably 21, 20.
Mm-hmm. 21.
Man, it's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. The thought that, okay, she had that race at NCAA's, 10:75, caught lightning in a bottle, and she may never run that fast again. You throw that out the window real quick. All it took was April until the next championship season for her to put that aside. And you're right, the margin sticks out too, because this race had some good people in it. It wasn't as if she just showed up to a college meet. It was people that she'd be competing against for an Olympic spot. The question then, because it's Olympic year, right? The question then immediately moves into, is she the Olympic favorite now? Is she the gold medal favorite in the 100? I think for sure we can say she's the trials favorite, backs up the number one ranking that you had for her. Good job by you, by the way. I think that was part of her performance, was her trying to live up to that. But on the world scene, you have Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who's won 6 100-meter gold medals, and as recently as 2019, ran in the 10.7s as well too. You have Elaine Thompson-Herah, who's the reigning Olympic champion. You have Dina Asher-Smith, who is the silver medalist from 2019 and ran some good races indoor this season. Do you think that Richardson is the gold medal favorite right now in the 100?
You ready for this? I'm going to go with no.
Maybe? Oh,
I'm going to go with a
okay.
no. And it's not because I don't think she's fast enough. I definitely think her times are gold medal favorite marks.
Mm-hmm.
But the 100 meter is a very high pressure, high stress event where I just feel like you need practice with the international competition, and she has zero. Whenever she's only run her fast races on home soil. She's only run her fast races in like non-international type, like big, like, because when she ran her Diamond League at Pre, she kind of fell apart. When she ran her USA, she didn't run as well. So I know she's not the same as those performances she had after NCAAs in 2019, but it's just kind of like the LeBron factor, right? You're gonna have the Utah Jazz, they're hot, they're winning, but LeBron's gonna show up when it matters most in the playoffs, even if LeBron isn't running 10.7.2. LeBron's gonna show up and run 10.7, 10.8 when it counts most. And that's what I think about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Elaine Thompson, Dina Asher-Smith. They might not be going out running 10.7.2, but they have the pedigree and the veteran presence to be prepared for, the 3 rounds in the 100 meters in Tokyo. So if she would win, I wouldn't be surprised. But this is one of those things where you're not allowed to be labeled the favorite until you do something at the international level. But she'll go out, she'll win this year, and then she'll be the favorite for the rest of her career. But until then,
so you're picking her, but she's not the favorite? You're picking her, but she's not the favorite?
Correct. Trying to make sure the money line works out in my favor too. So
let me ask you this. Out of everybody in the women's 100 right now, who would you be least surprised if you found out they won the 100-meter gold in July?
Least surprised?
Yes. If we could hit the fast forward button and I could say, hey, Gordon, I have the women's 100-meter results. This person won. Who would elicit the least? Right. And I feel the same way. That has to be, because she's done it 6 times before. You're right. She has a LeBron factor. You mentioned those other people, and they're great, and they have medals to their name and gold medals to their name. But Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is the LeBron of this event. She's the Usain Bolt of this event. She's the Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce of this event, which is she puts her. I mean, you look at her track record. it is pretty crazy. Just the gold medals that she's run off race after, major championship after major championship, 6 of them. And there was a break in there, right? 16 and 17 didn't get gold, and then comes back in 19. And in 19, she looked like she was just just getting started, basically. Like she looked strong. She was winning those things going away. I went back and forth on the favorite thing because it is tough. You run a time like 1072 that so few people have done, and you say maybe that elevates you to a higher plane where things like major championship experience don't factor in as much. Because I think if she ran, let's just say she ran 1068, right? There has to be a time at which she could have run where we would have said, I don't care what anybody has done in the past. She's the future, and this summer she's going to beat everybody. Just look at the marks. But you're right; it's right on that borderline there, where Fraser-Price has done enough, and not done enough recently. Because last year Fraser-Price was in pretty good shape to where you'd say, okay, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price goes into these Olympic Games as the favorite right now. Now, what if, here's another hypothetical for you. And I mentioned anybody watching, we're live on YouTube right now, in the chat. Let us know what you think. What if, let's say 3 weeks from now, Fraser-Price runs 100 and she wins it and she runs 11:05? Would that change your opinion?
No, not yet. I mean, especially because we're still kind of early out.
Yeah.
There will be there will be a point if we're heading into the Tokyo Olympic Games and she has a full like 0.2 lead on everyone else. I
Yeah.
will be a little more. This is one of those things where I know, dare I say it, like maybe she could have broke the world record, and I still would be like, hey, championship racing, anything can happen. Because we see this all the time where people have the best PB in any race, a more phenomenal PB than everyone in the field, and then they don't win. It's not always the person with the best season's best that wins a championship race. Yes, it happens. There are times when it does happen, but it's not a guarantee. And because it's not a guarantee, you just have to account for the fastest person doesn't always win, and sometimes it's the person who's most championship ready. And Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, 6 times she's been championship ready. She has the pedigree. Sha'Carri Richardson literally will be making her global championship debut. So it's like, I would probably be more on Sha'Carri Richardson's 100, but more on the gold medal favorite. If she would have at least qualified for Doha, got like 8th, or made it into the semifinals in Doha or something like that, then I would be like, okay, she's done it. She's been there. But this will be her first time. And it's just like, you never know what can happen. Now, again, if she would win, I would not be surprised because 1072 is 1072. But until Shelly-Ann Fraser, you can't dethrone the queen until the queen dethrones herself. So you have to.
Is that a Game of Thrones line or something like that? Did you get a writing credit on the season finale of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I want to clarify something you said, because if Richardson did break the women's 100-meter world record and ran 10:48, I would put her as the favorite. That is one world record where I would throw everything else out and say you are the favorite if you run sub 10:5.
Okay, but hold on.
That record's out there.
I can't believe I forgot his name. This is killing me.
Joel Embiid?
No, in the 5K, 10K, men. Why am I forgetting his name?
Joshua Cheptegei.
World record holder. Yeah, Cheptegei.
Joshua Cheptegei.
Is Cheptegei the favorite in the 5 and the 10?
Yes. Yeah, he is.
So if Mo Farah shows up, you're not going to be like, hey, maybe Mo Farah might win?
No, I'm not. No, I don't think Cheptegei. I think Cheptegei's favorite. Not because the world record, all the other stuff. Listen, there's world records, and then there's the women's 100 and 200 meter world records. They're a cut above. Like, that's a little different than breaking Bekele's record. But here's what also can happen with Sha'Carri Richardson. She can also run faster than this. She could continue to improve. This could just be the beginning. We also have to hold that out as a possibility. After the 1075 in into Austin a couple years ago, you're like, oh man, well that's going to be the apex of her season, and it ended up being her season. But this is a different year, so there's a possibility that she runs 1072 in April. She's not peaking for April, and she starts running sub 10.7. And if that's the case, then the only person really that can beat her in that setting, I guess only people would be Thompson Harrah and Fraser Price. Those would be the only two there who have the capability to go that quickly. It's a good position to be in for Richardson because you're clearly the best in the United States right now. You had you backed up to 1075. You're far and away the fastest in the world this year, and now everybody else needs to respond. We got a comment on the chat here from Gregory. Says Kenny Harrison had a similar experience. Time doesn't equal ability to compete in the championships. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Broke the world, didn't make the team. Broke the world record. Absolutely, and especially in something like you brought it up before, which I think is a good point. As nerve-wracking and as short as the 100-meter hurdles, 110 hurdles, like one tiny little mistake, and the race is basically over for you. You rush your start, you get out, and don't do what you're supposed to do in those first 30 meters. Something goes wrong, you're distracted, it's like gone, just like that. Like the difference between 10.7 and 10.9 is one minor error.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I think a lot of people probably would assume tactical races are where the people with the best PB are most vulnerable, but versus like a sprint event. But I could argue that the 100 is so short that it's actually more vulnerable because there's more mental glitches that can occur. Whereas in a 1500, after you get out bad and you're like, all right, well, let's adjust. Now I'm in this race. So I think in a weird way, maybe the 100 is the hardest race for the best time because they got that best time because everything went perfect mentally, the start, the drive, all that stuff. Whereas in a 1500 and a 5K, it's kind of like, well, it's not going to be all out world record pace, so you're just going into a race. So anyway, but yeah, Sha'Carri Richardson, 1072, respect. She's going to win the 100 at the U.S. trials at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So.
And then you also picked her for the Olympics, but didn't call her the favorite. There you go.
Correct.
That's the lesson for today, folks. Yeah. No, I actually understand your logic, which means I'm probably short on rest too, if I'm understanding